Yeah, ¿lista?
Ok, I'm listo. Soy muy listo. ¿Vamos a hablar en inglés?
Yeah.
Vamos a empezar en inglés. Okay, this is a video. We'll speak English for you. If you don't speak Spanish, you should learn Spanish, please. You'll get a lot out of it. We're here today with...
Okay, we have something which we had for breakfast.
Ah.
Yeah, it's pancakes, but not with white flour, but with
Whole wheat flour.
whole wheat flour and bananas and some strawberry marmalade.
Which, by the way, she made with the ones you thought we shouldn't use.
Yeah, that's
Did
true.
you know that?
Yeah, I know, but
Okay.
I'm still a little bit skeptical about something.
Well, this gets into food issues of like when food's going bad, should you throw it out or use it? And that's a question everybody, I guess, has to answer for themselves. Because we bought a big box of strawberries and then we made a huge error. What was it?
We just did nothing.
We did nothing with it. So I got a great price, 80 pesos for a huge box of strawberries. They were so beautiful. But I probably got a good price because they were kind of old already, like really ready to turn. And then we didn't do anything the next day. And what should we have done?
Eat them or prepare them in a way.
Eat them, prepare them, or dehydrate them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have a solar dehydrator. And so if we cut things up when they're in season, we've done this with mangoes, lots of stuff. And that works great. Anyway, but we have a task today that is not breakfast. So I'm going to put these aside. We're waiting for a guest right now. He's coming from England. He's an Irish guy who works in London at a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, and he just won a prize. So his prize was that his restaurant is sending him to Mexico to investigate a little bit about Mexican food.
That is totally cool.
Yeah, it's super cool.
And he decided to come to the Bosque because one of the goals of the restaurant is that they want to be very sustainable in how they do food. So I was excited when I read about it, and we'll read this together later, about all the things that this restaurant does to make sustainable Mexican food in England, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, not like the Tex-Mex food, but it's more like you would like the food you would find on a market in Mexico, of course.
Well, yeah, I don't know, and I know they're doing fusion because
Yeah.
it's not cheap street food. I mean, they're doing fancy stuff, and some of the menus we have here. This table right now is full of menus and books and stuff. So we're actually going to look at menus. We're waiting for him because he just had a 20-hour travel time to get here yesterday. So he slept a lot. And he'll join us in a little bit for his crazy adventure. But we're going to look at what the menus here in Mexico have, and then we're also going to go to town and the market, and you'll be able to come with us, and we'll eat some very authentic Mexican food. I like Mexican street food. I eat it all the time. And then we'll also make food here. Of course, here in the Bosque, we care about sustainability. So he was asking me last night about solar ovens and things, and I don't know how that's going to work in England, but we'll look things up. We'll look at how many hours of sun they get in England at what times a year. But they care about like locally sourced food and everything. So yeah, this is pretty cool. This is almost for me not quite accurate because I don't eat in most of these types of restaurants. These are more expensive than I want to go to. But it's really cool ideas. Also,
not everything is quite Mexican. So here we have like French toast or pancakes or bagels and sandwiches. So yeah,
right.
We want to try different stuff.
Right. So some of these restaurants cater to gringos and stuff.
Yeah.
And so this one's in English and
Spanish.
Spanish.
This one also is completely in English.
Yeah. I got some of these in Pátzcuaro, which is a very popular tourist destination. And some of these foods I like. Some of them I'm not that into. This is like Italian food here. And this is true of anywhere. I mean, this is a question I want to ask is really like, what is Mexican food? You know?
Yeah, if it's like the pre-Hispanic more, or is it like the food they eat today? So it would be a lot of hamburger as well, because apparently they really like hamburger.
Yeah, and they're weird hamburgers. They're not
they
like
are
where I come from.
The size is like this, and they are not only putting like one sauce, like ketchup or mayonnaise, but like a mountain of sauce, and of course chilies. You have to put chilies.
Right, and they put ham on hamburgers, which hamburgers don't normally have ham, they're beef, but whatever. Now, of course, here we also do vegetarian hamburgers, and that's one question we're going to talk about with him is, do they have vegetarian options? Because your number one way to be ecologically more conscious is to eat less meat. And, of course, Mexicans...
I'm a vegetarian.
She's a vegetarian. I'm a vegetarian here. And I think that's an important thing to talk about as well. Is like, how can you travel in Mexico and be vegetarian? Because there are vegetarian options. But it is funny because sometimes when you go to a place, this probably happened to you. What happens when you go to a restaurant and you say, I would like a vegetarian something?
No, I will not ask if it's vegetarian. I will ask first without meat. Then they will ask me, do you want fish? Then I say, no, please, no fish. You want chicken? No,
Right,
please,
right.
no chicken.
Right. So one of the goals is to teach people here, like, what do people mean when they say vegetarian?
Yeah.
Because, meat here means steak
Yeah.
or beef. And so, that's an educational thing.
Yeah.
I like it here in town in Aronga when people go and they are saying, I would like to get something vegetarian, and they're teaching people locally that there's a market for that and what it means. Now, it's tough to be really strict because there's people who are like, oh, did you use any oil on that skillet ever that had any meat in it? And it's like, good luck with that. But there's at least one restaurant in town that has vegetarian food. And it's because the guy, the woman's husband he is diabetic. And so she's learned how to make vegetarian food.
Yeah.
So I pass by there and I say, do you have any vegetarian things today? And she says yes or no. And she knows what it means. And then there's torta shops where I go and I say, oh, I'm with this person. They're vegetarian. They don't eat chicken or fish or beef. And so I'm defining it for them. I'm helping them learn. And now they'll make a torta, a sandwich that is vegetarian. Avocados and you have to ask about cheese too, because you eat cheese.
Yeah, of course, because I'm vegetarian, but I'm not vegan.
You're not vegan.
No.
You're not vegan.
Vegan.
That's funny. I'm just making fun of you. Your accent's very cute. Okay, so what we're going to do here is look at some of these. This is a relatively simple place here. They've got all hamburgers. It looks like. Wow, that's just all hamburgers. Okay, well, that's a different thing. And also we're looking for stuff, like she mentioned, the pre-Hispanic stuff, the pre-colonialization. And I'm very interested, what did people eat here before the Spanish arrived? Because that's kind of by definition more sustainable.
Yeah.
You know, and they eat a lot of fish. And then I wonder things like, well, what did they make their nets out of? You know, what fibers did they use? You know,
what does it mean?
A net, like
a net for
to catch fish.
To catch the fish.
Right, and so they used something before that now they use things like nylon webbing and things like that. And so all the parts of processing the food, because when I think about food, I don't just want to think, okay, what's on the menu? I want to think, where did it come from? What was the ecological impact? Where does the waste go? I want to think about the whole process.
So are we done for now? It's already a quite long video. I'm not sure if people would like to watch it if we are continue talking.
Well, we seem to be continuing, so anyone hearing this is clearly very interested.
Yeah.
You're interested. I don't care sometimes if videos are longish because there are people with interest.
Yeah.
So let's keep going. Let's
Right.
take a look at some menus. So pick a menu.
I pick this one.
Okay, what is it?
Oh, pizza and coffee. So maybe it's not the most Mexican menu.
This is Testarelli's. This was a restaurant in Aronga, and they're not very Mexican. We're going to rule this one out. Okay.
Next one.
Let's pick another
Here.
one.
It's hard to do. Voces de Luna.
Voces de la Luna.
Voces de Luna.
Right, well, let's take a look.
It's more Mexican.
Maybe.
Papa al horno.
Potatoes. Potatoes are from the Americas, especially from Peru.
Papas a la francesa, so pomfret.
Yeah. Crepes, pizza. This is not very traditional Mexican either. So we're looking for Mexican food here. This is from Pátzcuaro Cafe, Doña Paca. They've got various drinks and things. Drinks are fun to make. We'll be making some drinks.
They're so nice. Oh, their drinks I really love. For example, I really love horchata. I really love agua de tamarindo. I really love Jamaica.
Now, you've only been here for 2 months.
Yeah.
But you've tried a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So you like trying food.
Yeah.
See, when I go to town, I just eat the same thing over and over because I'm boring.
Yeah.
But when people come, then I try something for the first time. Look, we got some platos mexicanos aquí.
Yeah.
Okay, Mexican specialties. Tacos. Big surprise. There's all kinds of tacos. One thing to note about Mexican food is there isn't such a thing as Mexican food. There's Mexican foods. It's very regional. So we'll talk to my friend Alicia later about this, but she knows what foods are from here, and she's traveled in Mexico. So she knows the specialties around here, and I'd like to focus on some of those while this guy's visiting.
It's interesting.
Yeah, look, these are platos michoacanos. Choripo con corundas. Right, corundas are kind of like tamales, I think. So this says beef stew, traditional in the Prepicha style. The Prepicha are the local native people. We're right in the middle of Prepicha land, you know. Their capital was on the other side of the lake. There was a market town. Aranga's a market town. And so I'm especially interested in that. Enchiladas, chicken. Did they have chickens before the Spanish came?
Good question.
Great question. I
Yeah.
have no idea, and I know a lot
We
about
will
chickens.
investigate it now.
Yep, we'll look it up. Google knows all.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what chickens are?
Yeah, dinosaurs.
Yes. And do you know where they came from?
Somewhere where it's really hot,
It is hot.
but I don't remember where exactly.
Right.
Indonesia? No.
Indonesia.
Yeah.
Correct. The original chickens were red jungle fowl. So the homework question for you watching this, and we'll go look it up later, is do a quick Google search on finding out when did chickens arrive in the Americas?
Yeah, and also look up like the new pictures of Tyrannosaurus Rex because I think it's really funny because you remember the pictures of your childhood and they look like more like crocodiles or like reptiles. I don't
Right.
know. And now I went to a museum in Germany and the big Tyrannosaurus Rex just looks like a really huge chicken, and I consider it really funny.
Right. It
Yeah.
surprises people. And you look at chickens and how they act, and they're very specific. They're very lizard-like in a way. They're just... Okay, we got more
Okay.
people arriving. We're going to wrap it up for this video and continue in a second.